welcome to the Prelude Cares Network Podcast. Today, I'm excited to have our guest, Martha Sharkey from Today is a Good Day. Hello, Martha.
Hello, Steve. Thanks for having me.
I like your setup, that microphone.
I know I'm just missing my headphones today. That's all.
Everybody makes fun of me when I wear the headphones. They think I look like a Burger King teller. Hello, can I take your order?
Yeah.
And I know you do. You're like a veteran to the podcast. So is that your setup for the Today is a Good Day podcast?
This is our setup for the Today is a Good Day podcast. We are recording a few additional episodes this month and next month, and we are now over, I think we're over 75 episodes for our NICU Today podcast, highlighting families and medical experts, lifestyle experts, all related back to the experience through the neonatal intensive care unit.
That's amazing. That's incredible. So 75, is it once a month? How often do you?
Yeah, record a couple, usually once a month, a couple of episodes, and then we roll them out in specific times.
And you feature, who are your guests?
A lot of our guests are NICU families sharing their own personal experience through the NICU, reflecting back on their NICU journey, advice for other parents who may be going through the NICU now. We also feature medical team members, so neonatologists, nurses, pediatricians. We have had lifestyle experts join us to talk about mindfulness and stress reduction. Some therapists join us. We talk about grief. We talk about child loss, a little bit of everything related to the experience through the NICU.
Wow. Well, that's a good segue. So why don't you take us back to your story? How did you get so involved with the NICU, and what's your NICU experience?
Sure. Thank you for asking. Back in July of 2010, my husband Paul and I learned we were expecting for the first time. We found out we were expecting identical twin girls. As you can imagine, that we were thrilled. It was so exciting for us. Our daughters were due March 8th of 2011. Everything was going along smoothly. I still remember the day. It was Tuesday, November 9th. I was working at the Franklin Institute Science Museum at the time. Wonderful place. And something didn't feel right. And I called and they said, come in, we'll make sure everything's okay. So I grabbed my folder of work. I looked at my director. I said, hey, I'll see you tomorrow. They just want me to come in. And that was the first day that our lives changed forever. I was admitted to bed rest at 23 weeks and 0 days with we had very difficult conversations with the neonatologist, the medical team there, about the likelihood of our daughters being born prematurely, what that would look like for them, if they would survive if they were born at that time. So this is nearly 15 years ago. And we have big plans. We were going to make it on bed rest for several more months. Our daughters weren't due until March. This was before Thanksgiving of the year prior. I went into labor 5 days later and welcomed Claire. She weighed 1 pound, 2 ounces, and Mary weighed 1 pound, 4 ounces, and we were thrown into the NICU really not knowing anything about it. And so that was our first introduction to the neonatal intensive care unit. And as most parents will tell you, it's a very, very scary time.
And that was a CHOP?
We were not a CHOP. Nope. We were at Jefferson Abington Hospital in Montgomery County.
Gotcha. And so prior to that, all your visit leading up, during your pregnancy, nothing indicating that the babies may be premature?
No, we had a few conversations with the high-risk doctors just about the percentages of different things happening with identical twins, but no concern. Everything was fine. And, that just wasn't our path. It is for some, but it was not for us. Claire ended up dropping to 15 ounces after she was born. She had significant brain bleeds. They told us if she survived on day 3 of life, that she had high probability of not walking or talking. We didn't know what her abilities would be if she survived. They weren't sure at the time. And Mary was our stronger twin at birth, but ended up losing her fight after 14 days with us. She passed away the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and we said goodbye to her, held her. She passed away at 2:15 in the afternoon on November 28th. And then we went back to Claire, who was continuing to fight hour by hour, day by day. She ended up spending 103 days in the NICU at Abington Hospital before coming home. I always joke they had to kick us out of there. But where we got connected with this mission was the fact that we recognized a gap in care for parents and families during our extended 3.5 month stay. And we wanted to figure out, how do you help fill that gap so the medical team members, the nurses, the neonatologists can take care of the babies and help them, which is what their primary job is and their goal is. And how can we fill the gap with that parent and caregiver support, which is where the idea of Today is a Good Day came from.
Wow. Yeah, I can't get over. So I'm just thinking, Martha, you're a new mom at this point. You just gave birth to twins, way ahead of when you were ready to give birth to twins, and you lost Mary, but you still had to be there for Claire.
Mm-hmm.
What can you even remember? What were you just numb and kind of running on emotion, or like what was that like?
That's such a great question. A little bit of everything. So I will step back. When Paul and I had and my parents were there at the time too, when we had the really difficult discussion with one of the neonatologists, who to this day is one of our dearest friends. He is just a wonderful person. It was probably the most difficult 2 hours of our lives when we met with him, and he talked about the likelihood of the girls passing away if they were born at this time. Now, mind you, 15 years ago, 23 weeks was really the edge of viability. It has certainly changed over the past 15 years. Still very premature, a lot of complications, but different than it was back then. I mean, with science and all the technology. But I remember him leaving, and Paul and I was on bed rest at the time, and Paul and I were there talking to one another. And I remember my dear husband looked at me and he said, "We are going to leave here with 2, 1, or none. And whichever path is chosen for us, we are going to be okay." And so when we look at being able to take Claire home with us, it was unexpected, knowing where her start was. And with Mary passing away, that was very unexpected. But we truly lived one day at a time. We live by that motto. In fact, I have a bracelet that I wear every day that says "one day at a time." My girlfriend sent me 3 weeks into our NICU journey. And we really worked hard at celebrating the good moments and the good days during our NICU stay. We kept a daily journal and wrote in all the reports from the doctors. When they said "today is a good day for Claire," we jotted that down. Early on with Mary, we did the same thing before she passed. But we also had some pivotal moments that really helped us through, including meeting a former 23-weeker who's getting ready to go to his freshman year of college and play football. I just talked to his mom the other week, but he was 2 years
Wow.
old when we met him. And to meet a 23-weeker with our girls, both were with us at the time, in like just on the other side of the doors, and here's Sam, who is playing on his mom's iPhone in the conference room at the hospital. It was so inspirational, but that was the only touch point we had in the 3.5 months we were there. And then we made friends with a family who also lost one of their twins, and our surviving girls sang together at our miracle ball last year for Today is a Good Day. So the pivotal moments that we had, we wanted to make sure we could replicate for other families who were going through this journey.
So Claire's born at 1.2 ounces. She was the older but the smaller.
Yes, 1.2 pounds.
Yeah, 1.2 pounds. Sorry, 1.2 pounds, and then she had these brain bleeds. So take us through. She was there 103 days. When you brought her home, how big was she? What did that path look like?
She was ginormous. She weighed 5 pounds, 8 ounces. We didn't know what to do with this big baby coming home with us. It was a, we oftentimes talk to families about chapters and chunks of time. So I always like to use the phrase chunks of time because the NICU, it feels like it's going to go on forever, but it really is a chapter. It's a chunk of time that we navigate through. And we've experienced loss, we experienced Claire surviving. So we have experienced both sides of this, right? But that chunk of time led us to the next chunk of time, which was bringing her home. And we always joke the NICU had to kind of kick us out. We got pizza for everybody the day we had to leave. We kept saying to them, "Are you sure we're ready to go home? I'm not sure you're ready to send us home." But with Claire's prognosis, her start in life, again, and this was a pivotal moment. I'll share this with you during probably midway through our NICU stay. That same doctor that did the meeting with us when I went into the hospital and had the really difficult news for us. He took care of Claire a lot during her NICU stay. And I was standing next to him, next to her isolette, probably midway through our NICU journey. And they had told us we really didn't know what Claire's future would look like because of her prognosis. And so anytime she moved, I thought, well, this might be reflex. Is she really trying to move? All those different things. And I looked at him and I said, what does her future look like? What is she going to be able to do? And I'll never forget, and we share this with parents frequently. He looked at me with such a serious face and he goes, "Martha, she's going to be the best Claire that she can be." And I think that phrase by itself, all of these NICU graduates, all children in general, our goal is to help them to be the best that they can be. And that best looks different for everybody, right? So
Amazing advice.
it is something that sticks with us all the time. When Claire came home talking about helping her to be the best she could be, we immediately called early intervention. We had early intervention come out within a couple of weeks. She got put into that program, which we talk about all the time through the organization. We worked with her. She had a lot of follow-up appointments, neurology, cardiologist, NICU follow-up clinic, her pediatrician, all these different things. But everything that we did was to help advocate for her, to help her to be the best that she could be. And she'll be 15 soon.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And one last thing about Claire with regards to her hospital stay. So, I had my own long hospital stay, and just from personal experience, getting home was exciting, but getting home was nerve-wracking as hell because you didn't have a nurse a button away. So what was that like, taking her home for the first time? 103 days wasn't even their due date yet, right?
No, she came home at a week and a half before the girl's due date. It was scary because she was on a monitor. She could have come home on oxygen. She ended up coming home on a medicine and then a apnea monitor. And many parents who bring their children home on apnea monitors will talk about how they just like to go off in the middle of the night. So I remember it going off frequently, and we would jump out of bed and run down the hallway to her room. She ended up wearing that apnea monitor she came home February 25th, and she was released from the monitor on May 17th, which is my husband's birthday. And I'll never forget
Paul.
I know, happy birthday, Paul. But my mom and dad were in, and it was Paul's birthday. Our pediatrician called and said, "You can take off the monitor, put it in the box. We're sending it back." And I literally got off the phone with him. I put it in the box. I looked at my mom and said, "Hey, we'll see you, Mom. We're going out to dinner." And she goes, "Wait, whoa, you're leaving me? And this child just had her apnea monitor taken off of her." I'm like, "Mom, you got to have faith. Look how far she's come. She'll be fine." But those are the memories that kind of stick with you.
It's an amazing journey. And Today is a Good Day is one of the Prelude Cares Network partners. And we love to feature great missions, great causes. So talk to us about how Today is a Good Day came about. You already said that it was the doctor who would say, "Hey, today's a good day for Claire.
Yes.
Today's a good day for Mary." So obviously that's where the name came from. But what when did you get the desire to start a mission in Mary's leg?
Yes. Well, first of all, we are thrilled to be a Prelude Cares partner with the Prelude Cares Network, and we're so grateful for the support from you all, and so glad that we get to work together, Steve. With Today is a Good Day, when we were in our NICU journey, I know that Paul and I would look at each other and say, we're going to do something. We got to figure out a way to give back. We were very active in volunteer work during our years at Penn State through Dance Marathon, and always know the importance of volunteering and giving back. And so we knew we wanted to do something. We started taking Claire back to meet with other families when she was 18 months old. And we were able to talk to families about this 15-ounce, 23-weeker who was hitting her milestones, who just learned how to walk, got her first pair of sneakers. We could talk to parents about loss. And so we just went in and started hosting pizza lunches at Abington Hospital. And we met so many wonderful people that we're still connected with today.
Now, was that you who drove that based on you seeing the 2-year-old who was a 23-weeker?
Yes.
So you wanted to give back and do the same. Did
Yes.
the hospital have a program that allowed for that, or you just said, hey, when can we come?
Yes, we worked with the hospital to do that. So there wasn't a program, a formal program at the time. They do have one now through Today is a Good Day, but there was not a formal program. It was, when I think parents could come in. And so Paul and I have become very close with a lot of the medical team members, and we were able to work with them to set up this program to be able to bring Claire back in. And we met so many great people. And then we did some work for the March of Dimes, which is an incredible organization. We did some of their walks, and we did a little pilot program with them with our 1 day at a time bracelets. So we did some great work with them. We're still connected with the March of Dimes. And then for us, what really stuck out was that personal local connection to families at specific hospitals. And so that's where the idea of Today is a Good Day came from. We felt like we got a lot of paperwork when we were in the NICU, paperwork that just went into a tub of, a plastic tub that you put in storage and you never opened up and would never read. And we wanted to get those tangible items that were something that we could hold that helped us to get through the NICU, or something that another family found helpful. And our care packages came out of that concept: a book, a journal, things that we use, 1 day at a time bracelets, right? Things that we had during our NICU stay. And I'll say those care packages have evolved so much over the past 11 years to now include, oh my goodness, over 20 items, between a custom swaddle from Kiki Pants, the national clothing line, milestone cards, the same concept of the journal and On the Night You Were Born book for families to read. We have personal notes from NICU families, a note from a NICU graduate in their handwriting. So we have put a lot of effort into that. And that's really our initial touch point with families. And then the programming has expanded from there over the past 11 years.
That's incredible. Yeah, and we're so fortunate at Little Smiles to now be a partner in those care packages. We're so excited to be able to help with that. And I don't think you realize, I think general public hears about NICU and PICU and knows, some of what happens, but until you live it, you really don't know what every minute, every hour, every day is like for these families and these, in a lot of cases, young parents.
I totally agree. And I think what's interesting is when you share your story, Steve, of what your family has gone through, and, Little Smiles, we're thrilled to partner with you all to help to support our NICU families, put smiles on their faces through different initiatives. But I also think when you start to
Very
talk
little smiles. Yeah. Right? They're about the smallest smiles that you can get.
That's right. When you start talking about some of these difficult times, and in fact, I was just on a phone call earlier today with a gentleman who didn't know anything about the NICU, and when he read about Today is a Good Day, he said all these people kind of started coming out that they were connected to the mission and somehow. And I'm sure you feel the same with people that you come across, that they didn't even know they had connections to the mission, right? Or new family or friends who had gone through difficult experiences like what your family and our family have gone through.
Yeah, you're probably 2 degrees of separation from
right.
some family who has experienced the PICU, the NICU, some kind of medical tragedy or medical trauma. And we deal with a lot of that with Little Smiles. So I always think, in fact, you heard my story, but one of the things that got me through when I had a medical issue is thinking back to the Martha and Paul Sharkeys of the world and all the different parents who had kids going through something, an illness, a chronic condition, being born premature, and any type of issue. You know that every single one of them go to bed at night praying to give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just please let my baby be okay.
Right.
However old that baby is, right? They're always your baby, whether they're almost
Yes.
15 or they're our age or whatever. They're
right.
always the baby. And, when I had my issue, I thought, man, I'm the lucky one. I don't have to go pray tonight to take it from my kids. So I can only imagine what that must have been like. And for you to then parlay that into today is a good day and help as many kids and families as you do. How many families are you helping a year at this point? And what's the footprint, where geography wise?
Well, our flagship hospital is Jefferson Abington. We started there back in 2014 when we launched officially Today is a Good Day. We now serve families at 24 hospitals and organizational partners across 7 states, primarily in this tri-state area between New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. But we serve about 3,000 to 4,000 families a year with care packages and different needs that they have. And it's growing. I mean, it's growing, the impact that we have. We now have a new program, our NICU Family Advocates. We have 3 NICU Family Advocates, NFAs as we call them. They are on the ground at several of our hospital partners, helping families bedside, supporting the social workers and the team there. About 30% of their role is being out in the community and building bridges with community partners who help to address needs that families have. So when we talk about food access, when we talk about rent or baby supplies, transportation, we have built up partnerships with, we're over 150 partners now that our NFAs can tap into when a family needs something. And that is our newest program, which we're really proud of. We started it a couple of years ago, and it has just expanded over the past 3 years.
That's incredible. And I know that you're doing podcasts, and we talked about this being your set. So tell us about that. Tell us about your podcast. Who do you host? Where can you see the podcast?
All of our programs are available at todayisagoodday.org. We not only have the NICU Today podcast, which is available on all listening apps, but we also have mindfulness exercises that range from 5 minutes to 45 minutes. We have about 22 breathing and calming exercises that are available to download on our website that are great for NICU families, but also for anyone who loves to do those breathing practices. We have NICU Miracle Stories. We have families will reach out to us for care packages individually if they are not at one of our partner hospitals. We have virtual programming, weekly virtual Navigate the NICU sessions. We have monthly coffee and conversations that are virtual. Paul, my husband, started a NICU Dads group during COVID that is still going strong, and that meets once a month virtually as well. And we have people dial in from all over for that. So a wide range of programming that is available both in person and virtually for families. And then there's lots of opportunities to get involved volunteering with Today is a Good Day. We not only offer corporate social responsibility projects and corporate team building programs, but we also have volunteer committee work, on-site volunteering. We have a group of volunteers who come in every week, typically on Thursdays, and they're always doing projects in the back room, and it's just what they do every week. So we love to have this incredible Today is a Good Day community all working together to help support the NICU families we serve every day.
Amazing. How do you get your funding? How do you guys fund Today is a Good Day?
Well, it's evolved over the years. Like so many nonprofits, when we started back in 2014, I was working full time. I was serving as the director of the business district in Chestnut Hill in Northwest Philadelphia. We started the organization. We hosted our first big event in 2016. It was Pints for Preemies at McGurk's.
Oh,
And
wow.
we had a blast. We had
I guess
karaoke,
so.
and it was just kind of a fancy beef and beer, right? We had a great time. And then I stepped down from my full-time job at the end of 2017. We drafted our first strategic plan for 2018 to 2020. And we looked at diversifying our funding streams. How were we going to grow? How would we be sustainable? At the time, there were only three of us on our board. It was my husband, my best friend from Penn State, who helped us to get going to start the organization. She always says she got tired of hearing me talk about it. So she started our fundraiser page to raise the money to apply for our 501c3, and me. And when we kicked off in 2018, after I stepped down from Chestnut Hill, we focused on building our board, looking at our event layout, our partnerships, sustainability, and really diversifying our funding stream so that less than 50% was coming from events. So it's been a very diversified in grants and corporate giving and individuals and all the different areas.
Gotcha. And what's your next? Give me your next event. I know the Miracle Ball's in April, right?
Yes.
What do you have coming up?
Sure. Well, coming up this fall, we have our annual signature event, which is the Today is a Good Day family brunch. It's probably one of my favorite events that we host. It will be held at Normandy Farm, which is where we always host the family brunch. And we typically welcome about 300 guests to that. 100 of them are kids, usually. So it is a family focused event, and we love it. This year, we'll have DJ Shelley, who will join us for the event. We have games that come from A to Z Party Rental that they set up so the kids can play with all of these fun games. And we give out 3 awards. We have a Dr. Ralph Schreger Award, which honors Dr. Schreger, who was a neonatologist at Abington. He sadly lost his fight with cancer about 10 or 11 years ago, but he took care of us when Mary was born and when Mary passed away. That's given to a medical professional. We have the NICU Miracle Award, which is given to a NICU miracle who has defied the odds, and we get nominations for that award, and we have a
Oh, a
committee
kid,
who reviews them.
a former NICU kid,
Uh-huh.
maybe.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yep.
awesome.
So we give that NICU Miracle Award out, but children are nominated for it. And then
Love
we also give the Mary Gladys Award, which our team selects each year for a volunteer who has gone above and beyond in supporting the mission of Today is a Good Day, and that's to honor our daughter Mary. So we give 3 awards out. We also raise money at this event for our annual Thanksgiving meal project. We deliver over 500 meals for 4 to all of our hospital partners and their NICU families the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Wow. And that's, I mean, Thanksgiving's significant because that's when you went into the hospital.
Yes. Yep. It's a significant time. We started that program, I want to say 8 years ago, and we delivered 61 meals that first year. And now we are over 500, and they extend to our partners out in the Midwest, up into the Lehigh Valley. We deliver to all of our hospital partners the Thanksgiving meals to their families. So that's our fall event. We also have a very special program coming up October 14th. We will be hosting our annual remembrance service. It is an interfaith remembrance service for pregnancy, infant, and child loss. We have different religious leaders who come together and talk about loss through their faiths. And then families are invited to speak. That event's going to be held at Chestnut Hill College this year.
It's beautiful. It's incredible. And give me the date of that again.
October 14th for the remembrance service and November 9th for the family brunch. And then we'll kick off 2026. Where has the time gone, Steve? And we will host our annual Miracle Ball, which is a blast at the Bellevue on April 17th of 2026.
Unbelievable venue. It's incredible.
right around your fundraiser, your
I
big
know, I
gala.
know. It may even be the same. I won't plug
Oh
ours, but it
no.
may be the same day. I don't even. I'll have to
Uh-oh.
check. I'm not prepared with that. Well, a couple things. One is I was fortunate enough on our Little Smiles podcast to interview Claire Sharkey,
Yes.
who, as you mentioned, is almost 15 years old. And I'll have to say, she is so smart, so mature, so quick. Like, you forget you're talking to a 14-year-old, and you can tell why she's such a great actress. I know she's like, she gets the lead in every play at this point, and you can tell why. I mean, she just like exudes this confidence, and you can tell that Mary is there with her because she is definitely she's definitely mature enough for two.
Yes, I oftentimes tell her, I tell her how much she has inspired many other families with their babies in the NICU. And I remind her of that when she's having difficult days or difficult moments. I do remind her how far she has come and what she has been able to accomplish. And she has a beautiful voice. So grateful you interviewed her. She had a great time. It was her first podcast, Steve, to be interviewed.
How come you haven't had her on?
You've inspired me. Our NICU today, I actually, you've inspired me with interviewing her. I'm going to do a little NICU Miracle Roundtable and interview a couple of the kids who were in the NICU with Claire on one of our episodes. So thanks for that inspiration.
How cool is that? So they're all the same age. They're all rising ninth graders, right? So going into high
Yes.
school, that would be so cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially if you can, like, you mentioned the 2-year-old who's now going off to college to play football. But if you'd have, different kids excelling in different areas, obviously, Claire doing so well and acting and singing, and maybe you have an athlete or two. Like, it would be cool to have kind of a cross sampling of all these kids crushing it who started off as rough as you could possibly start off.
Yes. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's amazing. And I also think it's so important to remember is the other side of it too. Everybody's phrases that we use that we talked about earlier, helping our children to be the best that they can be, whatever that best is. And we often use the phrase as well, helping Claire to feel successful. And success can mean something different in our view for any child. So whatever that success looks like for your child and what you're going through, that's how we talk to her teachers, and we're working with her IEP and what she has at school. We'll say, how can we all work together to help Claire feel as successful as possible in school and what she's doing? And I think a couple of those key phrases are things we go back to frequently.
And I told her this on the podcast. She's a miracle. Like, I said, do you realize the ball is named after you?
Yeah.
You are
all the miracles, Steve.
You are a miracle. Yeah, it's just not Miracles Ball. It's Miracle Ball. So, all right. We don't have to. Every miracle can think it's named after them. Do you want to? I don't want to leave any children. And shouts out and tell us about the rest of the Sharkey household.
Absolutely, I can give you an overview of that. So our journey continued after Claire and Mary. We welcomed a full-term daughter, Martha Rose, who we oftentimes say she's our Rose from the Heavenly Garden. She was full term. She came home with us after 3 days. We just didn't even know what to do with that. But she is named after my grandmother. She's the 5th Martha in our family. And she is my grandmother. When I look at her, she has her dark brown eyes, and she'll give me my grandmother's stare at times. And it is wild. And then, and she loves sports. She is 10 years old. She does every possible sport. She does a little bit of everything. I always joke she's my mini me. She just wants to be involved in all the things.
That's awesome.
And then in 2018, we found out we were expecting again, and our son William was diagnosed with trisomy 18 at 14 weeks gestation, which is a devastating chromosomal abnormality. We knew based upon his prognosis that he would not survive after he was born. if he made it to live birth. I was able to carry him until 34 weeks, which I oftentimes say was probably one of the most difficult chapters of my life personally, carrying a child is going to pass away after he was born. And we had him with us about an hour and a half before he passed. So delivered him. The girls got to meet him right away. We worked with the team at Abington. They were unbelievable in working with us to create a birth plan, to figure out, what was important to our family, who was going to be there, all of those different components. We got to spend a little bit of time with him. The girls sang happy birthday to him. They were able to dress him and read to him and hold him and love him. And we have a lot of those memories. And so we also did a lot of memory making with him. But it was a difficult chapter. And I'd say that day was filled with a lot of sadness, but it was also filled with a lot of joy for us to be able to have the opportunity to spend some time with him, which not all families do when they're going through that situation.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've talked about, you've alluded to faith at different times without actually saying it. And things like both Mary and William can get people and families to go down one path and completely have no faith in anything, or go the opposite direction. It seems like you guys are a family of faith, which is what helps keep things going.
I would say for us personally, yes, every family is different. Everyone's beliefs are different. For our family personally, faith has played a big factor for us and been a helpful tool for us as we have navigated through these hills and valleys in our lives.
It's amazing. Well, today's a good day. What's the website one more time?
Yes, you can learn more at todayisagoodday.org. You can also follow us on all social media platforms at NICU Today. We share a lot of inspirational stories. We share ways to get involved. We highlight different celebrations like NICU Awareness Month and Prematurity Awareness Month. Just lots of information we try to share with our followers as well. So appreciate you taking the time. Prelude Cares means so much to us to be a part of this network. Thank you for the good work that you're doing, Steve, and I'm really grateful we get to partner together as well.
Well, tell my buddy Claire and my buddy Paul I said hi.
Will do.
And thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the events in the fall.
You got it.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Prelude Cares Network podcast. The Prelude Cares Network gives back to incredible causes throughout the community, and we're highlighting those causes in this podcast. But the core of our program is working with companies like yours to be able to help you save money and give back to the community without spending a penny. So it's the true win-win. If you're interested in learning more about what Prelude does and the Prelude Cares Network, go to preludesolutions.com/giving back, and you can learn more. Reach out to me. You can link in with me on LinkedIn at Steve Grandizio. Follow us on LinkedIn at Prelude Solutions, and we'd love to be able to help your company and your organization save some dollars and also make a contribution to some fantastic causes. Have a great day. Thank you for joining.